Hey, welcome to my channel. If you are new, make sure to subscribe. Today we're looking at Dropbox. Here's the setup of the video. First, I'm going to talk about why am I intrigued and why you should also be intrigued to do further research on this company. Second, who is the stock for? Because you don't want to waste your time on a company that doesn't fit your investment style or needs. Third, what the company purpose is and what they do, because the meaning is very important. And the 4 M's, if you believe in that, then the meaning is important. Fourth, we're looking at the management and prior performance of the stock. We look at this because, for example, Tesla had amazing management, but the stock price didn't reflect it for a long period of time. So in a short period of time, this year, the company skyrocketed. That is why we look at that. Fifth, we're going to be looking at the fundamental analysis, which will be the stock analysis part 1. And then 6, growth analysis, which will be the stock analysis part 2. 7, dividend analysis, which will be the stock analysis part 3. 8, price targets and what's a good price to buy at. 9, outro and subscribe. So we don't have a dividend analysis because this company doesn't pay a dividend, but we're going to get right into it. First, I'm going to be talking about why am I intrigued to look at this company, first of all, and why you should also be intrigued to further look at this company and watch this full video. So the investment style, if you're investing to this company, is going to be more for somebody who wants to make growth. So basically, more of a value investor who just wants a little bit more growth in their portfolio. That is the investment style for this type of company, but it could potentially have lots of growth. So here's some key information. The name of the company is Dropbox. The ticker symbol is DBX. It's trading on the NASDAQ. It's founded in 2007. You can see the industry. Application software, you can see the sector, software, market cap is just under 8 billion, shares outstanding around 413 million, and it also does have a website. Everything centers around that website, by the way. So as you can see, this is the company purpose and this is what they're doing. Basically, they used to just be a data storage company. Now they're a company that allows you to have everything in sync, to keep it all in one place. That is the goal, that's the mission, that's the meaning of that for this company. Okay, so now we're going to the management, because the management is a make or break thing. For every successful investor out there, they always are looking at the management, so we're going to do the same. The CEO is Drew Houston. He's 37 years old. He's been with this company for a long period of time, about 13 years, and he's just compensated just below $1.5 million. Mr. Andrew W. Houston, also known as Drew, co-founded Dropbox Incorporation and serves as the CEO and director since June 2007, since the birth of the company. He serves as its chairman. He served as president of Dropbox Incorporation until November 2nd, 2020. Mr. Houston is the director of Facebook Incorporation, also owns shares of that company. He also owns shares of that company, and since February 3rd, 2020. That was since February 3rd, 2020, that he was a director of Facebook. He's also a founder of App Virality Incorporation. He's a member of board of overseers of Y Combinator Management LLC. He served as special advisor to the board at HubSpot Incorporation until October 16, 2015. And he also holds a BS in computer science from Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So this CEO has been here since the very start, which in a lot of very successful companies, for example, Amazon, Apple, CEOs were there like almost all the time. You don't want management switching around too much because that is not good. Same thing for a team or a sports team. You don't want a new coach maybe every month or so. So that's really good to see. And now we're going to go on to the next thing. Okay, so we looked at the management. Now we want to see, or the CEO. Now we want to see kind of how his compensation looks compared to the market or similar companies, and also compared to the earnings and growth this company has had, because we don't want to pay anyone too much. Drew's total compensation was around $1.39 million, which is also below average for companies of similar size in the U.S. market by a lot. The compensation versus earnings. Drew's compensation has been consistent with company performance over the past year. So compensation. It seems like they're paying everyone pretty steadily, and everything looks to make sense. Also, a thing that you can notice is that the CEO actually has less compensation than the president and the executive officer, which I think is a good thing, because the CEO, just because they're the CEO doesn't mean that they should be compensated the most, and I think that is in line. Also, you can see the CEO ownership of the company, 22.74%. You can tell that he is extremely bullish, and therefore you should always add this. You should always be looking at this company, and you definitely add it to your watch list. So you can see the board of directors, same thing, very experienced, 55 years of age for the average age. The average tenure or average time they've been there, 4.6 years. The board of directors are considered experienced as well, which is good because if you live by the principles of Rich Dad Poor Dad, then you believe that experience is more valuable than a paycheck, especially with a newer company, which Dropbox not really is. It's only 13 years old, so I guess kind of. So you can see institutions love this company, holding 64% of it. You can see insiders love it as well, owning around 32% of it. General public only at 3.6%, and state or government is less than 1%. So you can also see that the shareholders have not been diluted, which is amazing. This company is growing without diluting the shares, which is amazing. So next thing I want to look at is the performance of this company. You can see that it hasn't performed really well, which makes no sense as the company, every time it releases a new report or something, it looks better and better. So you should be getting more bullish than less bullish. I mean, back then you should have been less bullish, and now you should just be more and more bullish. You can see that is not outperformed anything, which I think that its actual fundamentals outperform a lot of things. I also want to show you the stock quote, so you can see it's trading around $19, and for the longest, if you look at the max chart, it's just been steady like that. So this company has grown, yet the company has grown. By that, I mean the stock price hasn't reflected the growth that this company has been having. You can also see the 1-year target estimate is actually bullish, even though the stock price isn't reflecting the growth I see. So people are relatively bullish on the company, but it really hasn't reflected it in the stock price. You don't really see any growth in the stock price for as long as it has been public. You can also see that the market cap is below $8 billion, which is extremely low. I'll tell you why later in the video. You can also see kind of the 52-week range, which the highest was at $24, the lowest at $14. You can also see the average volume this company trades. It's not a penny stock. The volume is actually there. You can see their earnings per share and their PE ratio, which their PE ratio looks high, but their forward PE is around 20, which is extremely low for where I see this company going. Now we can look at the financials, or the financial summary. You can see that the price to book ratio, the price to cash flow ratio, the price to sales, the price to earnings, and by the way, the forward PE is exactly 20.04. You can see the quick ratio, current ratio, meaning they have more assets and liabilities. You can see their debt to equity ratio, their revenue growth. They don't have many years of income growth. They haven't been profitable for like many years, so you can't see that. You can see return on assets, return on equity, return on invested capital, and all those good metrics. The next thing I look at is the revenue and operating income provided by HyperCharts, linked below. You can see that it's been growing, and they finally have been actually producing an income. Their gross profit really high compared to their revenue. You can see this company is really growing, not just its revenue, but also its profits at a rapid pace. You can see the net income finally positive. This is quarter over quarter, by the way. So you can see they're starting to actually produce a profit, which is amazing for shareholders. It makes shareholders happy, makes people a little bit more bullish on this company. You can see their operating expenses, or how each is divided as far as expenses go. You can see that it has been growing at a pretty steady pace, exclusion of Q1 of 2018 when they really reinvested a lot. So it's really good. You can also see their gross margin compared to their operating margin and profit margin. And so you can see that it's growing and it's finally becoming positive, which is really good. It's a very bullish thing. Okay, so next up is the earnings. Actually, they have been beating analyst estimates and things like that. And remember, analyst estimates in 1 year, they expect this company to reach around $26. And if they continue beating what analysts think, well, then we can expect this company to reach more than $26 really soon. So also you can see the income statement. You can see that the revenue and operating income, the net income, the diluted EPS, the normalized diluted EPS. As you can see, everything is growing, not at a rapid pace. It's not Tesla. It's not really solving a major problem. It is solving a problem, but not a major problem. So yes, everything's growing, but not at so much a rapid pace. Like I said, this is more of a mid type of growth company. It's not massive growth, but it's not slow growth as well. You can also see the balance sheet, the total assets, total liabilities, total debt, total equity, cash and cash equivalents. You can see they have approximately $1.23 billion in cash. Remember that their market cap is around $8 billion. You can see the total assets covering their liabilities. You can see the total debt. You can see the total assets covering their total debt. You can also see total equity of the company. So everything is pretty much growing. Our total equity is growing. Next thing we look at is the cash flow. You can see the operating, investing, financing, and free cash flow. By the way, this is all in billions if you don't know. This is not a small company like Planet 13. It's not in millions, it's in billions. So you can see everything is growing especially that free cash flow, which is very important for value investors. If you're a value investor, you want to see the free cash flow growing, and it has every single year consecutively over the last 3 years, which is a bullish thing. Next thing we'll look at is the fair value of this company. As you can see, it's undervalued, not massively, but I mean 20% is a good return on investment. You can see financial position. This company is very good financially, more assets than debt, more assets than liabilities, long term and short term. So the next thing you see is what's making this company's stock price go up. You can see every time it releases something about strategy or financial things, that's what makes the stock price go up. So if you believe that their strategy and management is amazing, you can believe the company's stock price will go up. And if you believe in their financials will be better and better, then you can believe the stock price will go up. So that's kind of how I see growth happening as far as the share price. But I do see growth happening fundamentally. It has already happened, just the share price hasn't reflected it. So what does Dropbox do? Well, it used to just keep files in sync, which now we're seeing is becoming a little bit more commoditized. Also, that's a reason why I don't like Box, ticker symbol BOX. But now it's keeping Teams in sync. So not just files, but also Teams. It's creating a smart workspace, something kind of like Microsoft, what a lot of people consider a competitor, which I do. But I mean, Dropbox does seem like it's a different value proposition. So not only are they keeping files in sync or passwords in sync, anything that has to do with data, it's also keeping Teams in sync using other platforms and using them for the better to leverage their platform, make it better and better experience, which, people do value experience more than almost anything else. That is why when I'm investing in a business, if the business doesn't have to do with experience, or if the experience isn't good, or that doesn't play a major part of the business, I don't like to invest in it, because nowadays that's what makes people like companies other than lots of other companies. Experience at Amazon is amazing. The experience with the Tesla is amazing. All those different things. So you can see all the different things they're doing, e-signature, all those different things. So now you can see how many registered users they have and how many paying users they have, which is extremely low compared to their registered users, but their gross margins are amazing, and they have a lot of people who are potential customers. You can also see how they get customers, which is essentially start with massive user adoption, then land with those companies. After that, they expand with those companies, and then they have full deployment, and that is how they get their customers, and that is how they're planning to get more and more customers, which is what we want, but we also want them paying. So you can also see they have the open ecosystem, which they're integrated with lots of other companies, like for example Slack, and that also benefits them because it allows them to have a better experience. And also the platform works well with those places. You can also see how it helps them, which it creates a more engaging and higher value experience with Dropbox. I like how they use experience so many times because I do value that, and lots of Americans and just consumers do. So you can also see their HelloSign native integration. That's where I see the most growth for this company. I think that's what's going to grow the most. It's that HelloSign, which is the second leader. The first one is DocuSign, and the second is HelloSign. And so I think that's a very bullish thing. They own this company, HelloSign, and I think it's a very bullish thing. Next thing we want to look at is DocuSign. You see they have a valuation of $42 billion as far as the market cap goes. You can see their stock price has been soaring as of late, and I haven't seen that with Dropbox, and they own the second largest position. DocuSign is number 1, HelloSign is number 2. They own the second largest business as far as e-signature companies go. Okay, so now we're just going to end it off by looking at Dropbox subscription plans. So if they are growing customers who are actually paying customers, this is what they'll be paying. And then we're also going to be looking at HelloSign subscription plans. And a very bullish thing that I haven't talked about a lot, which is that Dropbox is number 2. Microsoft is number 1. Dropbox is number 2. DocuSign is number 1. HelloSign is number 2. Companies are going to switch to these other companies, big companies at least, because they can negotiate prices a little bit better, which makes them feel in more control. And if you read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, that is a very extremely bullish thing. Also, I do want to mention that Dropbox is trading at ticker symbol DBX, if I didn't mention it before. Oh, I forgot one more thing. Where can you buy the stock at? Well, you can buy it at StockPal.com. I will have the link below in the description to StockPal, a great investment platform so you can invest in this company and make lots of money. But remember, nothing in this video is financial advice, and I'm not a financial advisor. With that being said, if you found this video useful though, definitely consider subscribing, sharing this video, follow me on other social medias, comment down below if you found it useful or some things that I can change to make it more useful, as well as liking the video if you did actually like the video. Thank you so much, and goodbye.